Welcome to the Cad Cage, brought to you by ZenTech Consultants. In the Cad Cage, we put two CAD systems side by side and we test an important design function and we see if one system is better and one is worse or if they're a wash, right? So let's get started today with today's competitors, AutoCAD going head to head against BricsCAD. And today what I want to do is I want to test the process of updating multiple plan areas with the same information, right? Kind of thing we do 1,000 times every single day. So what I'm going to do, I've got AutoCAD here on the left side of the screen, BricsCAD over here on the right. I'm going to start with AutoCAD since they are on my left. All right, so when I go in here, you see that in this particular document I have a stairwell, right? I mean, I actually have 4 separate stairwells working throughout the entire plan, right? First, second floor, 4 stairwells. And let's say we're going to do something pretty simple here in this first floor stairwell. In every one of these stairwells, we're going to go in and we're just going to throw in a basic polyline, right? We got to put in, 3 handrails that aren't shown. Well, that's pretty straightforward, right? I can just go in and I'm just going to kind of eyeball it in here. I'm not going to be real particular about it. I'm just going to go in. I'm going to run a polyline, right? From there to there. Call it a day, right? I'll poly edit it just so we can see it. There we go. Right? And then I can just go ahead and I can copy this over. And again, I'm just going to eyeball where it goes. There's a center rail, roughly about there, and another one offset off the wall, right about there. All right, simple, right? So I've got it on the first floor side here, but now I need to go ahead and bring it over to all the other ones. Now in AutoCAD, pretty simple thing, right? I can go ahead here and I can just copy these, right? And I can pick a random end, point, say I'll turn my object, snap that bottom corner, right? And I can go to each one of these stairwells and just copy it into the same location, right? Not a problem. Takes a minute or two, right? I'm just going to undo that, right? Now, the problem that we run into here is what do we do when you see that right now in this center, originally, I'll just do a quick distance measurement here. Originally what we had, right, was a plan to put in, we had a 9 3/4 inch gap between steps. We were going to put in a wall. And the architect now says, hey, you know what we're going to do? Let's change up our design, and we're going to go down to just kind of a glass partition that goes up through the walls, right? Get a little bit more light in here, make it a little area. So the gap here only needs to be, we'll pull 6 inches off, right? We're gonna stretch each side of these, right? 3 inches over. So I'll just pull this over 3, and I'm gonna pull this over 3. We have a much smaller gap. Simple enough to do, right? Now I can go ahead and I can copy those rails over to the other locations. The problem that I have is that now I have to go in and I have to do the stretch command on every one of these. Then I have to copy those handrails to every one of these, right? Now, those of us who've been working here in a while, we know we're smart enough to know we can cheat this a little bit, and I wouldn't do that. I'd go in here and I'd erase these. Right? I'd completely empty out that space. Now I can just go ahead, right? Save a little bit of time here in AutoCAD and just copy those, right? The one that's already been modified. And that concept is great, right? But it's still, it's multiple steps, right? It still means that I do have to go through and I have to erase, right, all of the information from every one of these stairwells, create it in the one spot, and then copy it from one to one to one to one. And every time there's an additional change, I have to redo those processes. So definitely nothing problematic. This is a legitimate way to work. It's the way we've worked for a lot of years in Autodesk. So it works fine. It's a good setup. Takes maybe 10 minutes to accomplish what we're talking about here today. What I want to show you guys over on the BricsCAD side is they take a different approach. And we're going to talk about a tool here that we've used in other CAD cages called blockify. I'm pretty sure I used the blockify tool from BricsCAD in my schematics and symbol counting test. But I want to actually use it as part of a process today that I think really works very, very nicely for this kind of repetitive, multiple plan area update. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to kind of do the exact same thing. I'm going to zoom into that first stairwell here, right? And I'm going to use the blockify command, right, here in BricsCAD. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to pick everything in this area. So I'm just doing a crossing window right through there. And what the blockify command does is it identifies all of the other locations in my plan that match this graphic layout very easily. Right? So I'm just going to say pick my source entities. It says pick a block insertion point or use the default. I'm just going to hit enter, meaning I don't really care where it is. It's going to stay in the same location. Right? Then it's asked me where do I want to search, either the entire drawing or I can limit to selected areas. I'm going to do the whole drawing. Right? And then it says, okay, what block name do you want to use? And in this case, I'm just going to call it if I can type this out correctly, my stairwell. Okay, I'm just going to call it the stairwell block. And there you go. And you see it says number of blocks, inserts 4. So if I go in here and I use the simple, select similar tool, you can see that it actually created a block out of all those 4 plan locations. So now to get the same effect, it literally took what, 2 seconds? Now I can just go in and I can just use this, standard block editing tools. Right? And again, I can just go in here on this one setup, do the same thing. I'm just going to bring that over 3. Right? I'll bring this side over 3. Oops, sorry, I meant to use my stretch command there. Just pull this one over 3, so you get my reduced side. And I'll do the same thing, right? I'm just going to real quickly eyeball in here a polyline. Okay? And we'll poly edit it just for visualization purposes. Okay? And then I'll just copy it across using my object snap eyeball set up here. Close enough. There you go. Right? And that's all I need to do. And then I just go ahead and save the block. All right. But now what about this stairwell now looks fine. But what about all the other ones? Well, remember, blockify converted those to blocks, unnamed block. All the other stairwells have now all been updated that quickly. Right? In just a couple of seconds, you can convert any type of graphic presentation on your floor plans into a block using that blockify tool, modify it, and move on. And if you don't want it as a block when you're done, it's not a problem. I just come back here and I can just select similar and use the explode command. Now everything's back to basic graphic line work, if that's what you need. Right? The blockify tool gives you that option of finally being able to use block creation and explode on the fly very, very quickly. And it really is the best way I've ever found to be able to do multiple plan updates across multiple areas of your drawing. So I think in this case, while there's nothing wrong with the AutoCAD process, I think clear winner here goes to BricsCAD. They're the victor for today. All right. So with that, we're out of here, folks, and we'll catch you next time on the Cad Cage.